This season of The Vampire Diaries, I'm really proud of, and I don't think that there's an episode that I could say I hated or even moderately didn't like. In fact, I loved most of them. But there were also some really key moments across the season and some really special episodes for me personally. Personally, I'm definitely partial to the second episode of the season, Yellow Ledbetter, for a couple of reasons. One, because it was the first time we really got to explore this 1994 universe that Damon and Bonnie were trapped in. And also, it's the episode where Elena lets Alaric erase all her memories of Damon. And I wrote that episode, so it seems obnoxious to say it's one of my favorites, but one of the reasons I love it so much is because I wrote it on vacation between season 5 and season 6, and I was traveling around and trying to get a breather in, and to be able to write a script with no deadline and no pressure. I actually was in Rome when I wrote the first act of that show, and I was sitting up in the park at the top of the Spanish Steps and just sitting with my headphones on and letting the world go by around me and writing scenes from the Vampire Diaries. And it was just such a beautiful creative experience that I love that episode for that as much as I love it for what happened in it. One of my other favorite episodes of the season was the 8th episode, which is Thanksgiving. And it is not just when our present day friends are trying to have a nice Friendsgiving dinner in spite of all the tensions that are lurking and lingering, but we get to see the origin story of the family that Kai and Joe belong to. It's the episode where we realize Kai and Joe and Liv and Luke all come from the same family and the same coven. And it's such a creepy episode. It opens with Kai stalking through the house, and Chris Wood is just so fantastic. And the episode is really emotional. And, you know, of course, had a starring role for my favorite character of the season, Ms. Cuddles, the bear. So that's definitely one of my favorites. There are 2 back-to-back episodes that are ridiculously, beautifully important to me. And the first of which is 614, which is the episode in which we finally say goodbye to Sheriff Forbes. And just everything about that episode was beautiful and devastating. That entire storyline this year broke my heart. When we started talking about it, every time we talked about that storyline, I would cry. And so to build up to this gorgeous episode that Chris Grismer directed, this beautiful moment where Sheriff Forbes finally passed away and Caroline had to deal with it and everybody was there for her in the hospital. It's so sad, and I cry every time I watch it, and it's gorgeous. And that was followed by another episode near and dear to my heart that is my first episode I ever directed, episode 615. And I picked that one for myself. I said, I want to do the sheriff's funeral. So earlier in the year when we planned the story, we said, like, this, we know that this is where this is going to fall in the storyline. And it was such a great experience because not only did I get to put the words on the page, but then I got to go and work with our crew and all the great artists that we have on set every day who make such beautiful episodes, and I got to be a part of that as well. And I got to write in Marguerite McIntyre laying in a coffin for half a day just so I could have her in Atlanta because she's one of my best friends. So I love that episode, not just because I was a part of it like that, and that was a first for me, but I always love our funeral and our goodbye episodes. I think that in a genre show where the stakes are high and where people die, especially this being the first real death of one of our basic series regulars, even if, you know, Sheriff wasn't a regular, she's certainly been around since the beginning, to honor her. She's one of the first without the other side, and she's human. So to honor her beautiful human life and death was really powerful, and I love that episode. I will say that episode 19 is absolutely one of my favorites of the year because it is the episode where Stefan has Caroline locked up in a bed and breakfast and is trying to bring her humanity back, and Elena and Damon are pulling out all the stops trying to make her better, and she is just not having it. And Candice Accola, of course, has always been so delightful as Caroline and so poppy and funny and bubbly, and to see this run of hers where she went from I can do this, I can be totally normal, to Stefan, making Stefan turn his humanity off, to, you know, then torturing Stefan with his own, you know, with his own humanity-free existence, and then him torturing her. It was so much fun to watch, and it was so much fun to write for. And in this episode in particular, I thought that she just really, really shone as an actress and as a character. And it was directed by our camera operator, Jeff Schatz, in his directorial debut. And he really nailed it and did a terrific job. So that's definitely in my top 5.